3 knocks wake our snowman from his slumber. Setting: snowy December. Title: The Snowman. 3, a bit like the one that always gets shown at Christmas on the telly. Think of this as an end to a trilogy. Except all is not well. This snowman of ours... missed the line there, sorry. 3 knocks wake our snowman from his slumber. Setting: snowy December. Title: The Snowman. 3, a bit like the one that always gets shown at Christmas on the telly. Think of this as an end to a trilogy. Except all is not well. This horizon has limits. We're not sure he feels free. And so this snowman of ours believes he's not a snowman, and so tries to change his story. And so 3 more knocks bring the next day in December, a day our snowman wanted to be another, and this time became the smart man. Except he just wasn't a very smart man, not quite as sharp as the rest of his clan, and so studied 10 times harder than all the rest who'd ride the waves of deadlines peacefully. Their leisurely press stroke, peeping their intellectual pedigree just above the surface, whilst all our snowman could do was wildly tread water and swallow mouthfuls of it, kicking under wraps with the weight of work but barely breathing. Not a smart man, just a snowman with a smartphone that kept freezing. And so 3 more knocks bring the next day in December, a day our snowman wanted to be another, and so became the showman. Except he was permanently deadpan, drunk Turkish coffee, and grew out a majestic beard while wearing oversized jumpers starred brand new as hand-me-down vintage copies. And then he formed a band, the Frosty Jacks, a band of 5. Their Instagram bio reading, second-hand year 8 school keyboard vibes. But times after COVID were hard. They just couldn't get gigs. And eventually they split up because of creative indifferences. And so our snowman left that life behind for a marketing career, but still kept the shaved remnants of his beard in a bag as a souvenir. And so 3 more knocks bring the next day in December, a day our snowman wanted to be another, and this time became the strong man. He ate bran, drowned in protein shake, and spent all his time at the gym, but his arms never got bigger because they were literally stick thin. And the 3 knocks came and he changed again, and this time he became the soul man. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da. Except he only pretended to like that song and all this cool funk malarkey, and for every time he tried to be the life and soul of every party, there'd always be another time he hardly spoke. Sad? Our snowman squeezed out but one solitary tear that barely trickled before it froze. Even the space to mourn thawed thin. Another December day drew to a close. And with new portrait in mind, our snowy friend clasped his brush tight and laid waste to paint his next face again, except those split ends that splayed were now frayed, frozen, thinning bristles falling softly to still rest like dead straw on a threshing floor that no one was ever going to gather. He shivered, and for the first time he felt the cold. And the 3 knocks bring the next day in December, except this time the 3rd knock never came. Instead, he heard a piercing crack far above his head on a snow globe skyline. Our snowman rocks back in shock on his feet, dazed at first sight at this canopy's great barrier, his eyes tracing up and over and along the globe's giant glass exterior, and that's when he spots a glimmer near the crack, a brief flash of light bouncing back, a glint that seems to play games with his enlarged pupils. Animated snowmen only ever seem to have those eyes that are dots without the circles, and something suddenly appears to be laying in front of him, only a few meters apart, the globe's glow coming to rest on a ball of shovel-thick snow that all at once is camouflaged and stuck out like a sore thumb. He springs up, making haste to meet it and be by its side, and driven by abandon, he doesn't really know why, and then he sees it. Except it isn't really an it, but looks a bit like him. No snow angel, a bit unimpressive, though with eyes that are just kind of magnetic and seem to see him more than he sees it. He leans in, taken in with this little one's eyes, pulled past and into the world of sorts that seems to hide behind them, and a pause. He could stay here a while. And that's when it happened. The little one blinks. Booming clangs quake from up above as the place suddenly shakes with all the force of 1,000 thunderclaps applauding at the same time, and that crack above the snowman's head falls through completely. Splintered ripples sent back down the dome that encased him. Glass shatters to his sides as thumping, frosty air swooshes in, an air he always felt he was maybe made to breathe, but like breath he'd never quite known, as he adjusted now to new globe without a hugging, fragile coat. The snowman breaks gaze for a moment from the Son of Man and squints out before him to see a glowing Arctic expanse of everything. Snowcaps smiling back at him. Here was a snowman who always had been, but always belonged to a different dome. Here was a place without glass he could freely roam. But how? But whom? Sacred infant, all divine, what a tender love was thine. Thus to come from highest bliss down to such a dome as this? Hail thou ever blessed morn, hail redemption's happy dawn, for it was seeing and believing amid the winter snow that our old friend the snowman peered down deep into kingly baby's eyes, and to our surprise we finally found that snowmen were snowmen, and found too that we were home. I'll do it again because there are a couple of bits that I messed up, but cool. How